Yes, Pragati, please go.
Yeah, so I was trying the ECBP instance with Fusion.tech, but I was not able to get into it. I had a similar problem yesterday also.
Okay.
Is there something going on in that?
Now, the problem is, so as per the instruction given to me, I had reset the password of Fusion.tech user, and the old batch students or all those who have the Fusion.tech user login might be trying it out with the old password. So
Okay.
the tech user might have been logged out.
Okay. So could you share the new password?
I will unlock it.
Happening.
I will unlock it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the lock. The user is in lock state at the moment, and I'll just unlock it. After unlock it, you will be able to log in with the previous password that we have shared.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Let's get started, guys. I'm not sure. We already waited for 7 minutes. Not sure why others haven't dialed in, but that's okay. In today's session, we're going to talk about UI customizations and how we can perform them with the help of a sandbox. So whenever you have to change something in the application, or whenever a client opts for a new OIC instance, it comes with a default theme. So it doesn't look like this. It comes with a default theme, and it comes with Oracle logo, and it comes with a default homepage layout called Newsfeed homepage layout, right? So if you have to customize user interface for your client, and more likely there will be a few changes, at least a few changes that client might want you to make, such as changing the logo or changing few bits like changing the theme, changing the newsfeed homepage layout, or they might ask you to change the layout from newsfeed homepage to a banner layout maybe. Okay, so that could be one set of changes, like changing the appearance of the application or look and feel of the application. Okay. And another set of changes could be that within a specific page, a client might ask you to make certain changes. So say, for example, when you're trying to hire a new employee, okay. You're trying to hire a new employee. So client might ask you to make some changes in here. So he might ask you to change the labels of the fields. He might ask you to make some optional fields as a mandatory. Say, for example, gender is optional, make it as mandatory. Or he might ask you to hide certain fields or make them read only. So it could be a page level change, or it can be application level change, wherein you change the look and feel of the application. And when it comes to page level changes, application level changes fine. Page level changes, when they ask you to make certain change, like make a field mandatory or change the label, they might ask you to make those changes without conditions, or they might ask you to make those changes based on conditions. It could be conditional based changes, or it could be unconditional changes. So we'll see all these three categories today, how to make changes in these three sets. Okay, and it doesn't matter what component you are changing in the user interface, whether it is appearance of the application or whether it is a page specific change. You need to use something called as a sandbox. Okay, so there is a concept called sandbox. I'll talk about it in a moment. So we'll go to the application. So just think of this as a box that you need to create and enable before you could make any user interface related change in the application. Okay, so the prerequisite to make any UI related change in the application is to create and activate a sandbox, so that whatever changes you do in the user interface will be captured in the sandbox, and it will be captured in the form of XML files. And we'll go through the process of creation of sandbox and we'll activate it. And then we'll make few changes related to the theme and appearance. I'll just show you how to, I'll show you the options available there, like how to change the logo, how to change the theme as such, and how to change the homepage layout as well. And after this, we will also go through the process of publishing the sandbox. Okay. And then we will create a new sandbox, and then we'll see how we can make the page level changes. I'll show you how to customize the field labels, how to make fields mandatory. But these changes that we make, we will make them without conditions. So that could be one use case. But in some cases, client might ask you to change, make the changes based on conditions. In such cases, you need to write conditions with the help of expression language. Okay, so there is a specific language called expression language syntax that you need to follow when you write the conditions and make the UI changes based on those conditions. So I'll show you a couple of use cases as to how you can write expression language conditions to make the field level changes or page level changes with the help of a sandbox. Okay, so this is the agenda for today's session. And before we proceed any further, let's get into the application. Cancel this. And let's say the client has asked you to change the look and feel of the application. Okay, so one change which every client would request for is to change the logo. Of course, everyone would like to see their own logo in the application, right? Instead of Oracle. So every client would definitely ask you to change the logo. It may be you or someone else who might do that change, and they might also ask you to change the theme and look and feel of the application. And whenever you have to make any UI related change, say if I have to change the theme and the logo, I will have to go to configuration tab, and there is a tab called appearance in there. Click on it. And when you click on the appearance, it will show you what theme is applied in the instance at the moment. It shows you what is the theme that is applied. So you see that there is a theme called AKR, which is probably a theme created by one of our students. And you could see the homepage layout that is used, and you could see the logo that is used, and you could see all the properties here. Okay. And if you see here, I don't see an option to change the theme. I don't see a drop down, right, to pick a different theme, and I don't have an option to edit these options as well. And if you're wondering why, this is the answer. So it says to change the appearance of the application, you must activate a sandbox that supports appearance. So you can do it by clicking on this. So if you click on this, it will take you to manage sandboxes page. And in there, you can create a sandbox and enter into it. You can go from here, or another option is go to the home page, go to the configuration work area, and the sandboxes will be the first work area available under configuration. Click on sandboxes. Create a new one. It's called as FP14 sandbox 1, and I want to make appearance related changes. And I have two options. I can create a sandbox, or I can create and enter into the sandbox mode. So click on create and enter. Okay, you could see that my session is in sandbox mode now. The current session is in sandbox mode. And how do we know that we are in a sandbox mode? You see this banner appearing at the top. It tells you what sandbox and it tells you what mode you are in. And if you click on tools, it shows you what tools you have selected while creating the sandbox. And I want to make changes to the look and feel of the application or appearance of the application. And to do that, I click on appearance. And now you see that you have an option to pick a different theme if you want. Earlier we didn't see a drop-down, but now we are seeing a drop-down. And you have a list of predefined themes given by Oracle. You can pick any one of them. And you can pick a theme given by Oracle. And on top of it, you can make changes that you want to do. Let's say, for example, if you want to pick up this default theme, you can pick it up. You can pick up any theme you want. But the default theme will have very few options for you to customize. But if you pick up any other theme, like say, for example, Aquamarine theme, okay. So you select the theme that you want to use in the application. And if you want to just apply the seeded theme as is, you can just click on apply. But if you want to make certain changes, you can do that as well. And the common change that you see is we get this request quite frequently from the clients. They ask us to change the default homepage layout from newsfeed to banner. So you know how the newsfeed looks like, right? So you have the icons showing up, you have the modules showing up, and when you click on any particular modules, the general accounting or receivables, you will see the work areas available under that. And you have an arrow mark, and you keep clicking on it to go to the other work areas. So the problem with it is if I have to go to a screen like say schedule process, I will have to click on that arrow mark 4 or 5 times. Only then I get to see the tools option, right? So, but if you change this, and that's one of the biggest problem with newsfeed. It takes quite a bit of time to navigate around in the application. But if you change this to banner, all the work areas appear in a single page, and all you have to just scroll down like this, click on tools, and so that basically saves you 5 or 6 mouse clicks. So it was pointed out as one of the reasons why client has asked me to change the layout from a newsfeed to banner layout. So it could be because of any other reasons as well. So client might ask you to change the homepage layout as well, or they might stick to the one that is that comes by default, which is a newsfeed. Okay, so I'll change this to banner to just show you how the banner layout looks like. And the logo, you see Oracle logo is selected there. If you will get a logo from the client, a properly sized logo, and you could change this to file, and you will see a file picker option. You can click on this choose file option, pick up the client logo and upload it. And once you do that, the logo gets updated. Oracle logo will change to the client logo. So this is how you change the logo. You change this from predefined to file and choose file, pick up the JPG file that the client has shared with you. Okay. And you can change any of the options that you see here. So this theme, the Aquamarine theme by default follows a gradient color combination. Gradient means it will start off with one color and it ends with a different color. And as you see, as you progress along the screen, you see the color gradually fading from start screen to end screen. So if you don't want to have a gradient color combination, you can take it off if you want. Okay, and once you take it off, you need to select a specific color that you wish to have. And if you scroll down, the navigation icons also, you can control how you want them to appear in the application. So do you want them to be extra large, or do you want them to be small or medium? And you will also get a sort of a preview here. You see whether it needs to be solid or outline. And you can also select the background shape. Let's make it outline. And let's select the background shape. So currently there is no shape, and you can select it as circle maybe. Or you can, and so as you pick your options here, so you'll be able to see the changes. And you can also change the way pages look like, or the buttons on the page looks like. Okay, so you can customize it the way client wants it. And you make these changes, and after you make the change, you click on apply. So you change the newsfeed homepage layout, change the logo, and you change the navigation icons and click on apply. And since you picked a seeded theme, and since you changed a couple of options, it will ask you to, application will force you to save the theme as a custom theme, because it will not let you edit the seeded theme. So you can save it as a custom theme. We can call it as FT14 Aqua theme and save it. Okay, you can see that the theme has been applied in the application now. So if I click on home page, then you see the application is looking completely different now. Yeah, you don't see the gradient color combination anymore. You see the dark blue color background, and you see that you don't see the newsfeed homepage layout. Instead, it is a banner now. So if I want to just go to schedule process screen, I don't need to click on this arrow mark 4 or 5 times, which I had to do in a newsfeed homepage layout. In the banner layout, I just scroll down, click on tools, and I can click on schedule process or any other option, any other work area that I want to go to. Okay, this is one of the biggest advantage with a newsfeed homepage layout. Sorry, a banner layout. So we've made this change now. So the change that we have done now, like the creation of a custom theme and applying it in the instance, is sitting in this sandbox now. It is not yet published to the application. So just to prove it to you, I will log into the application as from a different session. So let me just sign out. And I'll sign in as a different user. Maybe I'll sign in as Prasad. So what do you see in the application? So if I log in as a different user, I still see the application in a previous state, meaning the previous theme applied with a newsfeed homepage layout, and again with a gradient color combination. You see one color here and you see another color. But the application that you're seeing here is in a completely different state. So, and that is what a sandbox helps us with. So first of all, to make any UI related change, you need to create a sandbox, enable it, and then make the UI related change so that the UI changes that you have done go and sit in the sandbox. And then what you normally do is, if you want to publish this change to the application, you have to publish the sandbox. But we usually don't do that. don't do that without getting a confirmation from the functional team or a testing team. So the approach we normally follow is you make the UI related change that client has asked for. You do it by creating a sandbox, enabling it. You make the change. You unit test them, and if everything is working fine, you will ping the functional consultant or a testing team, and you tell them that this is a sandbox. You just give them the sandbox name, and let's see what happens if I exit this sandbox. So if I leave the sandbox, yes. So what do you notice? You notice that even the current session has gone back to a previous theme. That does not mean we have lost the change that we have done so far. That does not mean we have lost FT14 Aqua theme or the changes that we have done. It's just that those changes are sitting in the sandbox. So go to sandboxes now. And you see the sandbox. If you click on the sandbox, you will be able to see the files that you have, or files that have been created. Okay, so you see this FT14 Aqua theme, and all the theme related files have been added in here as a change. So when you pass on this name to the functional consultant or a testing team, what they do is they come into this screen. They search for the sandbox name that you have given them. I think it has taken me back to the home page for the sandboxes. Okay, they will select the sandbox that you have told them, and they will enter the sandbox. So when they get into the sandbox mode, they will be able to see all the changes that you have done. They will be able to verify the UI related changes, and they will provide you a feedback as well. So if everything is fine, they will say that, it's looking good, go ahead and publish it. If they have some issues, they will let you know. And how do you fix them, or how do you resolve them? It's again the same process. You get into the sandbox mode, make the change. Maybe they ask you to change the icons from medium to small, or from rounded square to a circle, or maybe any change it could be. Okay, so you make that change, and it goes through that iterative process. And once the UI changes are finalized, if everyone is happy with the sandbox with the changes, then you will go ahead and publish the sandbox. And how do you publish it? You click on the drop down and you see an option to publish it. And it says that it will take you to a sandboxes page from where we can publish it. So just say yes. It will take you to the sandbox page. You will be able to see the files that you have changed, and you can go ahead and publish it. And you get this warning message. And what does it say? It says that you're trying to publish a sandbox, after which you will not be able to make further changes to the sandbox. That is okay, and it makes sense as well. But there is a bigger problem to this, or there is a. I should. Okay, so once you publish a sandbox, it says that you cannot make further changes to the sandbox. What that means is, if you want to undo the change that you have published with the sandbox, you won't be able to do it. Once deployed, there is no undo button for the UI changes that you have pushed to the application through sandbox. If you have to correct something, you will have to create another sandbox, correct that something that you want to correct, and publish that second sandbox again. Okay, so for this reason, since you don't have an undo button available for a sandbox publish action, you have to be really careful before you publish a sandbox. And precisely for this reason, you don't publish a sandbox and ask the functional consultant to verify the changes in the application. Because if they figure out that something is not okay, you will not be able to undo that change. So for that reason, you just make the change, pass on the sandbox name to them. Testing team gets into that sandbox and verify the changes. And only after the final confirmation, you will take this action, or you will perform this action of publishing a sandbox. And you see that the sandbox gets published now. Okay. And if I log into the application, if I just sign out and sign in from a different browser as a different user, I should still be able to see the change because the sandbox is published now, which means it's in the application. Okay, so you could see that you could see the latest change that was deployed with the help of a sandbox. Okay, and if client changes his mind and if he says that no, I want to go back to a different theme now, in such case, or if client says that I want to go back to the previous state, then you don't have an undo button. So if you look at this, if you look at the sandbox that you have pushed, it would have been moved from available sandboxes to published sandbox, and you don't see an option to undo it. So in such case, if you have to change something that you have, if you have to undo some change, what do you have to do? You don't have any other option but to create a new sandbox and publish it again. Say, for example, client said that, yeah, I want to go back to a default theme. I'm not okay with this theme. Then what do? You go back to sandboxes, available sandbox, create a new one, and quickly apply a default theme and publish that as well. Okay, that's how you undo a change. You will have to again create a new sandbox. You can probably call it as sandbox 2. Create and enter. Change the theme to default and publish it. You could have gone back to appearance from there itself. That's okay. Click on configuration, appearance. Change the theme to default theme. Apply. And you can see FD14 default and apply it. And to make this change available for everyone, what do we need to do? The change is done. It's applied in the current session, but it's sitting in the sandbox. So I'll go ahead and publish it so that anyone who logs into ECBP instance now should see a default theme in the application. And this is how you undo a change that you have done previously. Okay, so if you have hidden some field, or if you have made some field read only, and if client says that make it or undo that particular change, you create a new sandbox, make that change, and then you publish the sandbox again. So if I sign out from here and sign in back again, I should see a default theme. Yeah, I see a default theme in the application now. Okay, so that's how you make the theme and appearance related changes. Now let's look at how to make page level changes. Okay, so let's get into a specific page. Let's go to home page. Go to my client group and say, let's try to hire a new person. Hire an employee. And let's say the client has asked you to change the label of this field from hire date to start date. So client would not want to see this label as hire date. Instead, he wants to see it as a start date. How do you make that change? The process is again the same. First, you need to create a sandbox and enter into the sandbox mode, because that is a prerequisite to make and capture the UI related change. So let's go ahead and perform that activity and come back to this page again. Let's cancel this. So we'll have to create a sandbox again. Go to recent items. Create a new sandbox. Call it sandbox 3. And you can select all the tools here. And click on create and enter. Go back to home page and go back to the previous page, the new person page, where we want to make or where we want to update the label of a specific field for a new person. It's a known bug. Click on it one more time and you should see the navigation options. Click on hire an employee. And you see the label, and I need to change the label of this particular field. So whenever you need to make any specific change on the page, ensure that you fill in all the mandatory columns on the page. Otherwise, you will be interrupted when you try to change the label. So first prerequisite is to fill in all the mandatory fields on the page before you make any UI related change. So let's fill in the details here. So let's select values for all the mandatory fields, and then we'll go ahead and change the label. Select a specific legal employer. We repeat it. When we teach the flex field concept, we explain it very clearly to the students that yes, you can enable flex fields anywhere you want, but at least don't make them mandatory. Don't push others to enter a value in the flex field segment that you are adding. Okay, so yeah, that's okay. We have filled in the mandatory fields, and we want to change the label of this field. So to do that, you have to click on the settings option and you click on edit pages. Under administration, you see edit pages option. Edit it. Click on select. Go to select mode. And once you are in the select tab, you notice that your mouse changes to a sort of a zoom icon. Click on the field that you want to edit. I want to edit the hire date field. Click on it. and you can click on edit component. That will take you to the properties of this particular component. And here you will see all the common properties, all the properties of the component. Like you can change all of these. So you can make a field read only. You can change the label. You can make it required. Making optional fields as required can be done without any caution. Nothing is required. But when you make a required field optional field, you need to see if there are any database constraints that might get violated in the background. So when client asks you to make an optional field as mandatory, that's okay, absolutely fine, no problem with it. But if they ask you to make a required field as optional, then you need to verify whether a record can be inserted without a value in that. Say, for example, if clients ask you to make this hire date as an optional field, but if in Parallel PPF, if you cannot insert a record without a hire date, then it is bound to fail, even if you make this as optional here. So you have to be careful with making required fields as optional fields. Other way around is fine. And you can also change the short description. You can also hide or show the field. So you can change all these component properties of any field on any page. So what is it that I want to change? I want to change the label of this from hire date to start date. Where is the label coming from? It is coming from a binding at the moment. Okay, so you see this expression, it is called as an expression language. So in expression language, the condition goes into condition or a value goes into this special characters. It starts with hash and the condition goes into the curly braces. So this is called as an expression language. We'll get into it. We'll discuss more about it in a while. But here the label is coming from a binding. And what client has told me is he doesn't want to see it as a hire date. He wants to see it as a start date. So I can click on this drop down. Click on expression builder. And I could see the expression there. And I will change it to a start date or whatever value the client has given you. Click OK. And click on apply. And when you click on apply, you see the label getting changed here. And in case you want to, the reason I didn't copy the binding is you will always have an option to go back. So if you click on this, you will see an option to override the change, or you will have this reset option available always, which will help you to go back to how it was in the original application. Or before you change this label, where was the label getting derived from? So if you just click on reset, the bindings for the start date, hire date label will come back again. So when you make changes, you don't need to copy the bindings because you will have a reset option available. So you don't need to worry about it. So I've entered the label here. And when I click on apply, I could see that getting changed in the page as well. And click OK. That's how you change the label. And let's say you need to make a specific field mandatory. Say, for example, you see that the first name field is not mandatory, but the client has asked you to make it mandatory. How do you make that change? Select the first name field and click on it, click on the field, and you have to wait for 5 seconds. Don't keep clicking around. This option doesn't appear instantly. Just click on a field and wait for 5 seconds. Yeah, you should see this edit component option by then. And you can change the properties here. So I was asked to make this as a required field. So I can click on the required. And this required field, so this field is not required. And whether it should be a required field or not is based on a condition again. So there is a condition written using expression language. So application will evaluate this condition. And if this condition evaluates to true, first name becomes a required field. Otherwise, first name remains an optional field. Okay. So, but we don't want, we'll get into the conditions in a moment, but I click on required, go to expression builder, and I will take out the expression in there which is getting evaluated. I'll not rely on it, and I will just change this to a true or a false, depending on whether that field should be made mandatory, yes or no. So the expression, if you put in you can put in a value or an expression. If you put in an expression, that expression will be evaluated, and the result will decide whether it is a true or a false. That will decide whether the first name should become required or not. And instead of expression, you can directly type in a value, which is a true or a false. You can type in a Boolean value. If you type in true, click OK. You will notice that it has become a required field now. And click on apply. And some changes, when you click on apply, you might not see that getting reflected in the page immediately. To see the changes, click on OK again. Close this so that the page gets reloaded, and you should see the first name as a mandatory field after that. Just scroll down. And you could see that the first name is a mandatory field now. So in a similar fashion, you can also make other changes as well. Like hide a field or change the description if you want. Okay. So this is how you make the change without any conditions. But sometimes client will ask you to make changes based on conditions. And to explore that, let's go to the next page. So when you hire an employee, in the second page, you fill in their address, and let's add in the zip code so that other address fields get defaulted. And if you see here, so based on the country you select, or the country you select here will determine the address style, and the segments that you see here will change. Right? So if you select a different country, maybe Afghanistan or India or any other country, you see that the address style changes based on the country. Okay, you've seen that the fields have changed, right? And let's go back to United States again. And let's say the client has asked you to make certain changes in this based on conditions. And for example, let's consider this change. Client wants to have address line 3 as a mandatory parameter if the country selected is United States. Okay, the requirement is to make address line 3 mandatory. But it should not become mandatory always for all the countries, but it should become mandatory only when the country is United States. So how do you make such a change? So in short, I need to basically write in a condition. I need to select if country equal to United States. I need to assign a value. Say for example, I need to make it as a required field. So to make a specific field as a required field, we know that we can write an expression on the required checkbox. We've seen it just now. And in that check or in that required box, we need to write in a condition wherein we check the value that is selected by the user in the country dropdown. We will check if that country selected by the user in the dropdown is equal to United States. Okay. So how do you do that? Again, let's fill in the mandatory fields before we go ahead and make the change. Edit page again. Go to select tab. Scroll down. And you want to make address line 3 as mandatory. Select address line 3. Edit component. and you want to make it as required, right? So if you click on the drop down, click on expression builder, and I can take out this whole condition and I can just say true. But what is the problem with this? If I change this to true, yes, as expected, it becomes required. But this becomes required for all the countries, irrespective of the country that user selects. But that is not the requirement. The requirement is to make it required only when the country is United States. So I need to put in an expression here. So instead of typing in a static value here, so instead of typing in a value, I need to write an expression, and in that expression, I need to check if the country selected is United States. And for that, I need to get the binding of the country first, right? So cancel this, cancel, click on the country field. Edit component. And you can see the binding of the country. It's bindings.country1. Copy the expression, paste it, close the curly brace, and here on the country1 field, I need to select what is the value entered by the user, and I can do it by using a dot input value equal to, I can select if the value selected is United States or not. Okay, let me just verify the condition once. So I can put in an expression like this, bindings.country value dot input value. This will give us back what value the user has selected, and we are comparing. You have to use double equal to, and we are checking if the value selected is United States or not. And this needs to go into inverted commas. And you have to paste in this condition into the expression box of required. Cancel this, go back to address line 3. Edit component. Expression builder, and add in the condition. Click OK. Apply. And click OK again. Let's close it. And you see that address line 3 has become a mandatory field now. Since the country is United States, let's change this. Change this to maybe Afghanistan. And you see that address line 3 is not a mandatory field now. Okay. So, which means, yes, we were able to achieve the use case that client has given us. That we were able to make address line 3 mandatory based on the country. And we have done it with the help of an expression language condition. Expression language needs to go into this special symbols. It has to go into the curly brace, and expression language condition should start with the hash. But let's say that a client has given us one more change. I just want to show you one more variation in expression language just to give you a flavor of it. There are thousands of possible ways in which you can write expression language conditions. You can use logical operators as well. Like in case you want to have multiple conditions, you can use logical OR operator, or you can use a logical AND operator, and you can write in another condition as well. So you can write even much complex conditions with the help of expression language syntax. Okay, but let's say one more flavor. Say, for example, the client said that, yes, you have made address line 3 field mandatory if the country is United States. But can you also change the label to something else? Maybe US address line 3. Just a hypothetical scenario. So the requirement is to change the label of address line 3 to US address line 3 if country selected is United States. Okay, this is a use case. And what do I need to do? Basically, I need to go to the label of address line 3 and I need to write in a condition like this. And this condition will check if the country selected is United States or not. And I want to read that expression or read the result of this check. And if that is true, I need to, and I can use the ternary operator to write in or to return two values. So you can, in expression language, you can write in a condition, put a question mark, and you can mention what do you want to return in case it is a true, and you can put a colon and you can mention what do you want to return if the condition is false. So you can probably say return this if true and return this if the condition is false. Okay, so if you, in expression language, if you put in a condition and if you put a question mark, after question mark, whatever you write will be the result or will be sent back to the application in case the condition is true. If the condition is false, then it will pick up the value that you have given after the colon. Okay, so that's how the ternary operator works. So here in this case, I want to compare if input value is equal to United States or not. And if it is true, I want to assign a label of US address line 3. Otherwise, I want to assign a value of address line 3. Or maybe let's change it. Let's change it to a non-US address line 3. Okay, so I can copy this condition. Let's change it to United States again. Fill in the mandatory fields and then edit pages again. Go to select tab and you see that address line 3 is mandatory now. So you can say test address line 3. Go to select tab. And you want to change the label of address line 3 to US address line 3 if the country is US, and to non-US address line 3 if country selected is not equal to US. So to achieve that, I'll click on test address line 3 or address line 3 field, edit the component, go to label, and you select the expression builder. And you can type in an expression here. And in the expression box, you can plug this in. You can select if country equal to United States. And if it is equal to, then you return US address line 3, else you return non-US address line 3. Click OK. Click on OK again. And to see the change in the application, close it. And you notice that the label has changed now from address line 3 to US address line 3. That's because the country is United States. And if you change this to a different country, you should see the label getting changed to non-US address line 3, and it should be an optional field. Right? Because required also we have made it based on the condition that based on the country selection. Okay, so this is how you can make conditional changes by writing conditions like this using expression language syntax. Okay, so if you just go to Google or go to Metalink and type in expression language conditions, you get hundreds of them. Okay, so you can write even a complex conditions with logical operators and or etc. Okay. And apart from this, let's see how to add a new page to the application. So you've got a couple of advanced options available in user interface customizations, like you have application composer and page composer available as well. But you can explore them. I haven't worked on them much. Okay, so you have certain advanced concepts like application composer and page composer, and you can probably try to explore it in your free time. Okay, but let's see how to add a new page to the application. And when I say add a new page, I'm not talking about building an OAF page or an ADF page and deploying it to the application. In EBS, yes, if you want a completely a new custom screens, you could build it as an OAF page or as a form and you can deploy it, right? But in the case of ERP Cloud, you know the limitations we have in the cloud, right? So when I say add a new page, I'm talking about adding a new navigation option so that client users can access the other applications or other pages they want to access, they want to navigate to from within the application. Okay, say for example, if I go to the home page now, say for example, I go to any navigation option, you see that there are certain work areas available, right? So if there are some extensions built using a Visual Builder Cloud service in Oracle Integration Cloud, okay, these are the VBCS applications built, which are like extensions to the ERP Cloud application. Like you have a user interface tag to these applications, and when you click on them, a new application gets launched. Okay, the VBCS app. And you might be prompted to log in first into the OS instance, and when you log in, you will be able to see the new application showing up there. Okay, so if you want to launch another application, or if you want to navigate to another screen from ERP directly, it could be another on-premise application, or it could be an application like OTM or something else. You can add in a new navigation option here. Okay, so that's how we added these options, the VBCS apps that you're seeing here. So how to add in a new page, or how to make a new page entry under an existing group. You can create a new group altogether like this, like tools or procurement, you can add in a new group altogether, or you can add a new page within the existing group. So to do that, you have to go to configuration, and you go to structure. And in this page, you will be able to see all the groups. And under each group, again, you can see what are the pages that exist in the exist under that particular group. So you have a create option. You can create a new group altogether, or you can create a page entry under an existing group. Let's create a new page entry. Let's call it as an example, we'll add the Oracle documentation link. So we'll just call it as Oracle Docs. But in real time, this could probably be another on-premise application, or maybe a VBCS app, or any other application that client user might want to access from ERP Cloud. You give it a name, and you need to select an icon. Probably select an appropriate one. And you need to select the group under which you want to include this page entry. Okay, So you can click on the drop down and you can select under what group you want to include this navigation option. You can probably select a tools or any other group that you want, and you can select where you want this new page to be displayed under group, under the tools group. Do you want this page to be visible under tools group in the navigator? Navigator means what you it's this option. So when you click on this three dots, you see the navigator popping up, right? So under the navigator also you have the same groups showing up. You have the same group. So under tools in the navigator, do you want to see the additional page that you're adding now? So if you want to see it, say yes here. And if you want to see under tools this new page on the Springboard, remember on the Springboard also you have the same group, then select yes here as well. Mobile enabled, you can choose yes or no there. And you can select the link type. The link type could be a dynamic or a static URL. Select a static URL. And you can add a destination there. And you go to the new tab and let's copy the Oracle Cloud documentation link. And you can paste it in there. You can click on save and continue. You can probably save and click on save and close. That should be fine. Go to home page now. If you go to tools, you should see this new Oracle documentation link. Scroll down, you see a new link added now, and when you click on it, it will launch the Oracle documentation page. Okay, so this is how you can add a new page. And when we added this new page, if you remember, we didn't get an option to restrict it by any role, right? So meaning if I add this, any user who has access to the tools would get to see this option. So see this page. But what if I want to restrict access to the page that I'm adding now, the additional page that I'm adding by a specific role? Say for example, you want to give a user an option to navigate to say an accounts payable on-premise application, or maybe a core banking system, and that should be visible only to the users with a specific role. In such case, what do? Instead of using this a new page option, add new page option from the structure, you have another option called page integration. Okay, so if you go back to home page and if you go to configuration again, we added a new page using the structure now, right? And when you add a new page from the structure, you will not have an option to restrict the page access by role. But you have another option called page integration. If you use this option, you can restrict the access to the new page that you're adding by role. Okay, so you click on page integration. Okay, so you can add in a new page. Okay, so you can go back. So if you add in new pages from the page integration wizard, you will be able to see those pages only if you have a role that you are mentioning here. So say for example, if you add a new page, and let's call this as maybe an accounts payable on-prem application. Select an icon. Yeah, select any option, that's fine. and select the application role. So if you mention accounts payable specialist here, only the accounts payable specialist, or only if the user has accounts payable specialist role assigned, only then they will be able to see this new page in the application. And you can add in a web page here, the URL that you want to access. And here you will typically plug in the on-prem application URL here. Okay, so this is how you can add a new page with the security. Meaning restricting it by user or by user role. Okay. Before I go ahead and open up the session for questions, let me just show you one more option. So usually when we make changes, UI related changes with the help of a sandbox, when it's time to migrate them to a higher instance, usually you will have only a handful of changes like changing the logo and few other bits. So we try to make a note of those conditions, and you can, even in the new application, you can quickly create a sandbox, include those conditions or make the changes and deploy it. So that's a manual migration approach. That's an obvious one, and it's always available for all the scenarios, right? So you can create a same sandbox in SAT or UAT, and you can make the same changes in case the changes are only a handful. But in case the changes are quite complex, or in case you come across, or in case you have a complex conditions that you have plugged into a sandbox. To help you with that, Oracle has given a new option to migrate, an option to migrate a sandboxes from one instance to another instance. And how do you do it? To show you that option, first let me come out of the sandbox, otherwise you won't see that option here. So if you go into the sandbox now, this sandbox, and if you see the files, you will see the files that you have edited already. Okay, so you edit the sandbox now, leave the sandbox, edit, sorry, exit. Okay, and if you see that there is a migration option available, right? Click on it. And the migration, this migration option is not working in the instance, but I'll explain how it works. And even I haven't tried this out in the in real-time instance as well. So there are two things you need to do in a source instance, and one action you need to perform in a target instance. So a couple of things that you need to do in a source instance or a dev instance where you have a sandbox that exists. You have to first set the target instance. So you go to environment URL and you need to set up a target instance. To which instance do you want to migrate the sandbox changes? And don't think that if you set up an instance here, say for example from ECBP, if you set up a target instance to ECBP test, don't think that a pipeline would be established and the changes would flow automatically from source to target. The reason for setting up this target instance is that the sandbox needs a certain instance level parameters for it to get deployed correctly. So that those instance level parameters will be picked up from the target environment URL that you set here. The changes would not automatically flow from source to target, because it gives you that impression when it asks you to set the target instance. Changes doesn't automatically flow, but it's just that you have to set the target instance URL here so that it picks up what is the release of the new target instance. It could be a different release or a different version, right? So it picks up certain attributes from that target URL. And once you do this, you go to create migration set, and you do this again in the source instance, in the dev instance, and you create a migration set. And how do you create a migration set? You do it, you see an option to create a migration set, and you can pick up what sandbox changes would you like to migrate as part of that migration set. Okay, so it's taken quite a bit of time here, But what you do is you go into this screen and you select the sandbox that you want to migrate, or the changes that you want to migrate, and it will create a migration set. It will generate a zip file which has all the changes that you have done as part of that sandbox. And all you need to do is you need to go into, so you need to pick up that file, go into SIT or UAT instance, and you have to go into this incoming tab. You have to click on the incoming tab in the target instance, and you will have an option to upload it. So it's still navigating. I go back to home page and come back to this page again. Let me open the application again in a different browser. So if you go into, you go into create migration set. You generate a migration set. You extract the zip file that is generated from the dev instance, and then you pick up that file, log into SIT or UAT instance, and you click on upload migration set option. And when you do this, you will see a file picker option again, and you can pick and choose the migration set that you have exported from the previous instance. It looks like it got stuck again. Okay, this is how you can migrate a sandboxes from one instance to another instance, or the changes that you have done with the help of a sandbox. Any questions, guys? Any questions in what we discussed today?
Yeah, Prasad, this migration, only that sandbox migration we are going to do, or like we have created any DFF field or key field, something, any kind of configuration we have done in the instance.
This migration option that you're seeing here, this is only for UI related changes. If you want to migrate the configurations you have done, you can do it with the help of a functional setup manager. Remember, you have something called as functional setup manager, right? Ravi would have explained that topic. So if you go to home page, go to setup and maintenance. If you want to migrate the configurations you have done in any module or the setups, and that includes flex fields, for example, you will have to create a configuration package. So what you need to do is you need to create an implementation project, select the modules that you have set up, and you go to manage configuration packages, and you will create a configuration package, and you will export the setup data with the help of it. And you will have a config file, a zip file generated. You pick up that file, configuration package file, and you import it in a target instance. That's how you migrate the setups. You migrate the setups, which includes flex fields, with the help of configuration package. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Prasad, we are adding a label, right? Sorry, we are changing the label. So suppose in case of multilingual pages, okay, for example, you are changing the hire date to start date, but I want the corresponding foreign language translation also. How I will achieve that?
I believe so the multi-language is not enabled in the instance, but I believe if it is enabled, when you go into that page where we have changed the label, I believe you should see an option to add in a translation as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, the same question. It is related to this multi-language only. Say, for example, now you are taking if this particular field value is United States, right? United States may have some internal code also, maybe US or something, right? But we are taking that exact value and we are hard coding it in our expression language. Okay. See, for example, it will be working fine in my English language, but if I'm going to another foreign language, because since it is hard coded, it may fail also, right?
Yeah. That's true. In such case, yeah, I'm not particularly sure on how to handle that. And probably you should see what languages are enabled and how United States appear in those languages. You might probably include a condition to handle that as well. Yeah.
So in that case, I have to put R condition. Okay, either so it will work in both languages. Okay, okay, great.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, you have to do it that way, and you also need to write the condition in such a way that it should display a label in a different language, if it is a different one.
Okay. So one more question, Prasad. Suppose, say, normally one of the common requirement from user is, say, currently we are having a default grouping. For example, under my client group, I have set of things, right? Instead of that, user may want to regroup it also. Okay. So this is one of the common requirement coming at that we can do it, right?
Yeah, you can do it. See, when we went into structure and added a new page.
Yes.
So if you go into structure, you see the groups there. So these are not enabled because we are not in a sandbox mode, but if the sandbox mode is enabled, you expand it, you see the pages, and you will be able to move them. So you select the page that you want to move, you select the page entry that you want to move from my team to, say, a me section. You click on it, it will open up, and you will see the group in there, group on that page entry, and it would have been my team. So click on the drop down and select me. This will get plugged out from here, added under this group. You can regroup the page, regroup the icons. No problem at all.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks, Prasad.
Thank you. Just one caution, guys. Just one minute, Java. Just one point to add here. So we have looked at how to make the conditional changes, right? And I have picked up the country address as an example. And there is a specific reason why I have done that. So when clients ask you to make a change based on conditions, don't say that it's possible because we have seen something similar in the session. We were able to achieve this based on conditions. That's because whenever you change the country, the address fields are getting reloaded and the page is getting refreshed. And because of which, even if I put in some conditions on the address fields, they were getting executed and they were becoming required field. They were becoming the label is also getting changed. So whenever client asks you to make some change based on conditions, see if the page is getting partially refreshed when you make a selection above. Or say, for example, to make it more clear, if I go to my client group and click on new person, click on hire a page again. So if clients ask you to make, say, for example, a middle name mandatory based on, say, for example, legal employer. Okay. That might be possible because the moment you select a legal employer, you will see that these fields get reloaded. Remember, you're seeing this. So if you change the selection here, the fields get reloaded. And when such thing happens, you can probably write in a condition to see if the legal employer is so and so, then make the middle name as so and so, make it mandatory or change the label. But if client says that make the middle name mandatory if the title is so and so, if nothing is getting refreshed after you select the title, then the condition that you are writing on the middle name might not get executed at all. So all I'm trying to highlight is be careful with the conditional changes and be very careful before you commit into the client that yes, it is possible. It might or might not be possible depending on the use case. Okay, hope it makes sense. Yes, Yoga, please go on.
Yeah, Prasad, in short, I given some queries.
Okay, yeah, let me open the chat. How to assign labels to the left side? I'm not particularly sure if you have that option at all, because see, I've shown you where you see those options. If that option is available there, it's available. Otherwise, it's not available. As simple as that. How to do the login page changes? The login page changes, this is a good question. The login page changes, sometimes clients do ask for login page changes as well. So if I go to the page again, let me go to the test instance page. Okay. So if you look at this page, so this some clients might ask you to change this page as well, and they might want to see their logo here, and they might want to see their company building in the background. So in such cases, such changes cannot be done from within the application. Such changes need to be done. Recently, we have done it for one of the bank. So they said that they want to see their bank headquarters building in the background on the login page, and they want to see their logo. So the way to make such changes is you cannot do it from within the application. There will be an IDCS application attached to this. There will be an IDCS application attached to this ERP cloud instance, which is helping you with that user authentication and navigation. And you need to log into the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure dashboard. Okay, so you need to work with the client. So you need to log into Oracle Cloud Infrastructure dashboard with the help of a client. And inside that Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you will see an option to change the login page. Okay, so even if you go to Metalink and search for how to change the login page, it will point you to a Metalink URL where you have a list of steps, like what URL you need to navigate to after you log into OCI, and you can see the changes there. Changes can be done, but you won't be able to make those changes within the application or with the help of a sandbox. It has to be done from Oracle Cloud Infrastructure page.
Okay. For this, we have to contact Oracle people, or like
yes, Oracle people, and you need to have you should be able to log into the application first from Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So that cloud account details will normally not be shared with you, because if you have those logins, and unless the permissions are set appropriately, you will probably be able to buy anything on the client behalf, because there will be their credit card saved in that. Okay, so you'll have to work with the client and work with Oracle support to make changes to the login page. SSO, it's a completely different subject. It has got nothing to do with the topic that we discussed today. So if you go to security section, there will be enable single sign-on option, and it enabling a single sign-on, it will be it's none of our business. There will be IDCS consultant, and it will be his full-time job and bread and butter to enable SSO in different applications. So we've got nothing to do with SSO. To enable it, you will have an IDCS consultant working for probably a couple of months alongside you, and they will be doing this from a security console section. Okay. The logo changes, I think I've already explained it.
Logo changes, Alan.
Any other questions, guys? If the logo changes, in the theme, you can pick up a logo and upload whatever logo the client has given you. Yeah.
Right side, we can put it up.
Yeah.
Prasad, are these UI changes? I mean, whenever a patch is applied, does this get overwritten?
Most likely no, but in some cases you might see that if there is a patch that is directly impacting that particular page, you might see there's a 1 in 100 chance that it might override a part of the changes that you have done as part of UI customization. Okay, but otherwise you should be fine.
Okay. So it's good that we check once the patch is applied.
Correct. It's better to do a sanity check after the patch is applied. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And with this, we have come to the end of our end of the training, guys. End of the technical training, to be precise. And you will receive a communication about the functional training tomorrow. I'm not sure whether you have a session or not tomorrow. You will probably receive a communication. Most likely, you will have a session, but the confirmation, in case it's not there or it's there, you might receive a communication. Please watch out for that. Otherwise, if you didn't receive any communication, that means class is there, and please dial in tomorrow. And I cannot share my contact details. If you have to reach me for whatever reason, for any technical doubt or for any component or any question you have to reach me through admin. That's a protocol of the Training Institute. And any issue, if it's admin related, direct it to them about the video, instance access, logins, etc. If you have any technical questions, like you're building something, you got stuck, then you can take out a snapshot and send it to admin. Ask them to forward it to me. Okay, they will send it to me. I'll respond back, and you will get a response back from admin. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so any questions, guys? So Sela, to answer your question, we don't have any sample description, but you can easily get a few of them from Google or from LinkedIn. You can mention all the 20 topics that we discussed as part of the training. The key points is you can mention the security setups. You can mention all the components, the reporting components, or the inbound extracts, outbound integrations that you have worked on. What I would advise is if you're looking to switch a job, again, it depends on what you want. If you are looking to switch job, in such case, it would be better if you show as if you have a couple of years of Fusion experience. Probably you can take out a couple of years of your EBS experience and add in a Fusion experience. Add in 2 or 3 projects, and in those 2 or 3 projects, you can add in 3 or 4 components from our training in each project, and you can say that you have done FPDI in one, you have done HCM data loader in another, and you have built the FRS and other components in the project. Okay, so the detail to which we have covered the components, it should be enough even if we show it off as a 3 or 4 years. But yeah, it's up to you. Okay. It was nice talking to your batch, guys. So if you have, do you have any questions or any feedback for me? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Prasad, it is really great session, Prasad. We got insight into this thing, and really your thing is very, very great. Okay. Really, I am finding it, I should not say that, I am finding it more comfortable in technical section than functional section. Okay. So OIC also, I find it is really, you are a great instructor. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Suresh. Thanks for the feedback. It will motivate me to do even better. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prasad.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. And we want everything that, till now, what are the documents now? So we want, can you share?
It was already shared, Nagarjuna. I've shared the first code pack initially, and you would have received the second code pack somewhere around the mid of the training, right?
Okay.
I think we have been shared.
In case you didn't, in case you missed anything, in case you didn't receive anything, you can probably reach out to admin. Tell them that you haven't received so and so file. They will forward it back.
Okay.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
good time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.